The Leo King will be live shortly.
What is going
Please hold on
everybody?
while the collective
It is David
consciousness
Palmer,
loads.
the
And
Leo
thank you
King,
for being a part
and
of the Leo King.
we are doing a live talk right now. We are talking about Mars this week and what the moon's going to do this week. We are getting ready
The
for
Leo
a
King will
new
be live
moon
shortly.
that's going to happen.
Please hold on
by
while
the
the
end
collective
of this
consciousness
weekend.
loads. And thank you for being
I
a
thought
part
it was important
of
to
the
talk
Leo
about a
Kingdom.
lot of this stuff because I believe that when I look at the astrology this week, we all need to be prepared.
The Leo King will be live shortly.
Because
Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads.
Mars
And thank you for being a part
very,
of the
very
Leo
interesting
Kingdom.
planet. Not only was it just with Pluto recently, which together did a major reset.
The Leo
over
King
last
will be live
20
shortly.
years of our life.
Please
The
hold
last
on
time
while the
Mars
collective
was
consciousness
retrograde
loads. And thank you
November
for being a
8th,
part of the Leo
2018.
Kingdom.
So look at where your life was then and how this big reset has happened with your desires, your persona, your conquests, your goals. Where you're
The Leo
going in
King
your
will be
life.
live shortly.
And
Please hold
now
on while the
Mars
collective
is in
consciousness
between
loads.
spaces.
And thank
Now,
you for being a
if you don't know
part
what
of
that
the
means,
Leo
we're going
Kingdom.
to talk about that today. If you have never been on my live stream before, it's pretty awesome. Pretty cool. What it is this is where I connect with you. I am here to be in the chat room, talk about the astrology, and really see what's going on. Because I think when it comes to astrology, we need to come together. We all need to help each other out. We all need to try and understand, this crazy energy and the life we're living. And I will say this. Over the weekend, we switched into the Scorpio energy. The sun went into Scorpio and the moon went into Leo. And I felt it very powerfully. My whole life went through a major shift point this weekend because I think this sun in Scorpio has made us really look at our true desires, our true wants. But deeper than that, it's time for change. It's the first time since 2012, to be very frank and to be very honest with you, that we all are ready for major change. The fact that Saturn, the fact that Mars, the fact that the eclipses, the fact that the North Node, over the last 4 years, were in Scorpio on and off and did retrogrades and weird energy, meant that the energy of connection, the energy of transformation was going through a very heavy, heavy aspect. And it was in some way, I think, difficult for people to go through it. I don't think it was a very simple process. Now, here has the sun reached this spot, and it's almost like there's an alive happening. There's a ready to change, a ready to really see what's going. It's a wake up in many ways. It's a transcendence that has happened. So I think that this is a very exciting time. Now, what I also think is exciting is the chart. So I want to pull that up for everyone. Let's see here. Booyah. Got the chart up. And this is the chart for right now as we're talking. Mercury has entered into Scorpio now. And if you look at this chart, this is where Mars and Pluto are in a very unique aspect with Uranus. See Uranus here at 22 degrees of Aries? If we look and start to see, over the next couple days, Mars is going to get ready for its square to Uranus, which happens on Friday. But this is while the moon is going to wane and go into its dark phase, which is going to be exact in a T-square on Friday. So that shows me something really tricky, dicky, weird is coming Friday. I'm just going to be honest with everybody. And I want to prepare everyone, especially when you're dealing with Uranus, things coming out of nowhere, unpredictable energy. And then you're dealing with Mars, which is dealing with ego, war, identity, action. And especially because, especially here in America, we're getting ready for an election cycle. I would say that this week might feel like out of nowhere, just like right when you think things are kind of done, things are going to get really intense a lot quicker than you might think. Things are just going to really start to really impact people in a way that I don't think many people might be prepared for. And I think it's going to be very important to be prepared for this energy. Mars and Uranus can be really radical. And when Mars is in exaltation, which means it's in the sign it loves to be in, it could be like people doing whatever it takes to do what they want, especially when Uranus is in a sign of ego. You're dealing with cardinal energy. You're dealing with egos on the line. You're dealing with heavy, heavy intensity. You're dealing with a dark moon that's going to happen on that Friday in Libra. You know, you're dealing with a sun in Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars. You got to realize that this is a time where this is like heavy decisions coming, heavy, heavy energy, but powerful transformations. Every part of your life is going to change. Whether you're on one cell phone plan and you choose another cell phone plan, or you are at a place where you're ready to move, or you're at a place where your relationship life is completely changing, you are about to experience a new you. The fact that Mars and Pluto have done this conjunction, the fact that Uranus is coming, is that your identity and your persona is about to turn a new turn in a new way, in a new life, in a new direction, in a very odd way. But also on the world stage, I think things are going to come out of left field very intensely. We also this week are going to, and I'm going to talk about this in my Uncut, which comes out tomorrow, of course, which is where I talk about the weekly horoscope. But mainly, this is a Leo King Alert live show. And since I've got so many people in here, almost 500 people, it's like we all, I think, need to spread love. And I want to use this platform right now to let's all together all send positive energy to the universe, that this week everything goes good, that everything goes in the right direction, because it is going to be intense. But it's a positive intensity. But on the other half of such positive intensity can become some other people using it in other ways. And I think this week we are going to see that happen. It's just too primed. If you look at this astrology, it's too primed for some weird stuff to go down, especially by Friday. And there's no irony that it's going to happen by Friday. Based off the end of the week, things are coming, and things are building this week. And you got to know that Mars is in between the Pluto-Uranus square and what we've been going through for the last 4 years. And that's why I bring up this last 4-year cycle of our life, because of the Scorpio energy, but the Pluto-Uranus energy. And to have Mars kind of amping this up and fueling the fire and filling up this energy so intensely, it could become rather kind of wild. So if you've never been on this before, we do have a chat room which you can hang out with here on the Facebook Live platform, which a lot of people love to be on and hang out with. And I am in there right now. And I want to get you on there to answer some of your questions. If you have some questions or you have some input about this energy and what's going on, I'd love to see that. I also want to make one announcement while I'm loading this chat platform is I've had over 100 submissions for people who want to be part of talent of the Leo King app. This week, I will be putting out a video for submissions because I'm going to have to weed out people who want to be on the app but might not be ready yet or whatever. So this is going to be a big week as well. If you want to start to make money with me with the Leo King, be an affiliate and have an audience that is pre-built for you, I have got a way for you to be part of that. If you want to be part of the Leo King app, if you want to be there, so that is going to be a big aspect. And I just want to let people know who've been waiting to think about it. I can't write back to every email. So I'm going to have to do a different submission process with a submission process that's going to go through a whole different thing. Let's go to the questions right now. Looks like we've got, hi, David. As a Sag, Aries, how does this affect me? Well, I mean, you're all fire. Saturn's in fire signs. Mars is in, I don't know. When you say you're a Sag, Aries, I really don't even know what that means unless, I mean, it's kind of like in Europe how we do the clock. It's like they put the day and then the month first. I don't know if you put your rising first and then your sun, or you put your sun and your rising or your moon first. Who knows? But I could just tell you that for a heavy Sag and Aries energy, especially with Uranus and Saturn both in your signs, that this is a time of really learning how to have major breakthroughs, but build something of it and to do something with it and to figure out where you're going in your life. But I don't want to answer individual signs. I just got caught up into it because this platform isn't fair to the 500 people that are in the room right now and the thousands of people who watch this video afterwards. So, So people are asking about the application. I'm putting a video up on YouTube and Facebook this week that'll help people understand where to submit, and there will be a whole submission process about how to submit. But this is going to be an affiliate program where you become not only a person that will be featured on the Leo King app, but you will make money off the Leo King app, and you will also as well have a preset audience ready to watch you, which is pretty hard to find, especially because people that are trying to start out in the spiritual community or have been doing it a long time have been having a difficult time getting subscribers and having a difficult time getting a lot of people to watch them. I have found a way to have people be able to come onto the app and to be able to do that. Now, separating from my own life and my own app and getting you on the app, it's about the astrology. You got to remember that the moon this week is in really positive aspects, but can get a little weird by the end of the week. Like today, the moon's going to come into Virgo, and I think that it's going to make some oppositions and stuff. So, we're going to be able to start to really get things done this week and really start to organize our lives and organize the things. But this is a week to where with Mars still in a weird space. And if you really look at this, let's take a look real quick there, Scotty. If you take a look at this, Mars, and I'll do the little thing, right? Mars this week is going to be right in between the Pluto-Uranus square, which means, there's all these wants, there's all these needs, and Mercury and the Sun are going to conjunct, So we're going to really understand by the end of the week here what's going on. But if you're freaking yourself out here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and even especially Thursday, don't even think about it, and Friday, you're not going to know this stuff till this new moon Sunday. Let this whole week pass. I'm doing my uncut a little early, but, it's like, do not think that you're going to figure it out this week. It's going to take a whole week. Don't start jumping on bandwagons and trains and automobiles, planes, not literally, but I mean like in your energy, in your spiritual space onto something without fully really taking all of it together and seeing the things that are going to come out of left field, especially in the political arena. There's going to be some really weird stuff that goes on this week that I think that we're all not going to be prepared for, that we're going to wait for that information to come out, and it's really going to affect us. It's really going to be intense and kind of help, I don't know, if you're into the political field, maybe help sway your decision of which way to go if you're still undecided. There's a lot of undecided voters out there. And I think that this week, a lot of people are going to kind of wait to see, well, what's the weird thing that's going to pop up this week? What's the crazy information? This is also Scorpio time with Mercury now in Scorpio. So now all the dirt's going to come out. If you thought all the dirt came out on Donald Trump, if you thought all the dirt came out on Hillary Clinton, that ain't crap. The real dirt's coming out. Mercury's going to help expose it. And for the fact that we are coming into a Virgo moon over the next couple days, some weird information is going to be come out, and then it's going to build to something even crazier. So I'm kind of combining my astro gossip and my astro buzz and my astro, just astrology horoscope stuff right now. Kind of a little combination thing. So I hate to do this, but camera 3 is not doing too hot. I didn't set it right, so I'm going to have to switch to commercial real quick. Yeah, I know it sucks, but anyway, so I'll be right back. Just give me 1 sec.
Wake up to astrology like you've never seen before.
So thanks for dealing with me. I needed to get this camera going. It's the studio cam. And you know what's so crazy? When you deal with Uranus, okay, anything can happen, especially weird stuff. This TV is one of my, I took pride in this TV. I've had it for a couple years. It went out. It doesn't even turn on anymore. So I have to go buy another TV, So Uranus can take things that you didn't think were going to happen. And this actually happened on the Mercury-Uranus opposition last week. So it's like, I got to get a new TV for this studio too. And it's just like, oh man, anything can happen. So this week, prepare. Don't get caught up in thinking that you have it all figured out and that's where you're going. I think and this actually will help people, okay? You do have a lot of it figured out. Now I'm sounding like a contradicting asshole, but it's not the truth. This is the truth. You do have it figured out, but there are a lot of little missing links. There's small missing links to the puzzle right now that need to be figured out this week. So let all those kind of come together. They need to come together, and that will help out a lot. This is a waning moon. It's in a positive state through Virgo, even though Virgo is kind of a crazy spot with Saturn in Sagittarius and Neptune in Pisces and all that stuff. So that it's not really the best moon this week. And then it's going to go dark into Libra. And then it finally goes into Scorpio new. So really, this is not going to be a very good week, especially with Mars in the middle of the craziness and all this stuff, for you to just start, saying, I'm going to do this, like a lot more has to kind of come up. And I hope that makes sense for people. Let's go back to the chat room real quick, see what people have to say before I get out of here. Oh, and you know what? I didn't even do that. Hey, hi again. Hi. Oh, there we go. Somebody said, I'm thinking of doing a party for people who refuse to vote. I know a lot of people who aren't voting, actually. I'm not a politician or a political channel, so I'm not going to even get into that crap. But you know what's funny is if I actually look at this astrologically, I think a lot of people, whenever you come into Scorpio, and this is like a thing about Scorpios too, whenever you come into Scorpio, you either get really sick of something or you just fall in love with it head over heels and you're all about it. It's real fast too. When the sun comes into Scorpio, you're just like, fuck you. Or it's like, fuck yes. That's why I think actually Scorpio and the word fuck comes from Scorpio. Part of my French, if any young kids are watching, and we are live. But, people become really sick of things. So when it comes to this election stuff, I don't think that it was any irony that the sun left in Libra on the last third of the debates, and how funny that the election's going to happen in Scorpio. This is where we draw boundaries, we draw lines in our life. And now that Mercury's entered here, now you're going to start to see really what people are. I think there's a lot of people that are unsure of what they're doing in their life. People are going to start making their commitments. One thing about Scorpio is you either commit to it or not. You either, and sex is the kind of the same way. When you look at, you got to remember Scorpio is sex. So it's you just don't commit by pulling the pants off, pulling the underwear off, and then kind of saying no, that's called what do you call that? I don't know. You call that I guess when you're in guy terms, locker room talk, we call it when a girl cock teases you. I think girls call it something else. What do girls call it? Girls call it when a guy is just fucking around with you, I guess. I don't know. But that's the whole thing about Scorpio is it's not a mental knowing. It is a spiritual knowing. It is a thirst. I call it the thirst. One of my favorite movies of all time is Interview with the Vampire. And the reason why I love that movie is because Brad Pitt becomes a vampire. And then he becomes this vampire and he's forced to accept who he really is. And when he becomes and understands who he really is, he decides not to join the whole entire program and eat people. He chooses to eat rats for years. And he just lives off rats and he's afraid to do it. And there's a part of Scorpio where you have to give in to your thirst. You have to give in to your true wants, because then sexual repression comes up, or more importantly, you don't want those spermies all backed up. And ladies, you want the system flowing down there, or it starts to not turn into a pretty situation down there. So that's why Scorpio is all about not repressing things too much, because if it gets extremely repressed, when you see a lot of heavy Scorpio, or that's why the moon gets repressed in Scorpio, it's at its detriment, is because it's emotional repression. It's holding on to emotion too long. Or, like you got to let things flow in Scorpio. It is a fixed sign. I always call it because it's a fixed water sign, it's a lot like an iceberg, and it's like, man, you got to like break the ice down into crushed ice and chew on it. I chew on ice, if you didn't know. So it's like, and really go with that thirst. Like, yeah, like, I don't know. There's something about me. I love when I have a soda. You guys know I love my Sprite. And I got crushed ice, and I love to chop my ice with the soda. It just tastes so fucking good. I don't know what it is. I just love that. And there's something about Scorpio that there's this, you gotta go for what you want and what you really feel, and it's all gonna come up. But this week with the Mars square Uranus and with the waning phase of the moon in a very awkward spot all week, I will just say this. You gotta let all the emotions come up. You gotta see what this Mars Uranus is gonna bring up and see if it's all really what you want or not, and not get too lost in it. So it's a big thing. So going back to the chat room here, Sprite loves me too. Sprite slush sounds yum. Sprite slush is really good. The thing about Interview with the Vampire, though, that really gets me is that he has to let into it. And I hate to be a little too personal right now, but and we got to talk about sex. I love Scorpio season because it gives me an excuse to talk about sex. I can get away with it. And I got away with it for 3 years. People used to not like watching my channel when Saturn was in Scorpio because every day I brought up an orgasm or, ravaging on somebody's private parts or whatever you want to call it. I mean, if it's Donald Trump, he calls it groping, whatever, which is not right. I'm not promoting anything like that, but I am promoting honest, true, emotional thirst. That's what Scorpio rules. It's a water sign. It rules emotion, but it rules your emotional thirst. And with the fact that this is a healthy Scorpio sun coming in with a lot of the Scorpio energy, with Pluto that went through there in the 80s, Saturn that just went through there in the 80s, and now the 2010s, and now the fact that Mars has gone retrograde through there, and it went retrograde in the 80s as well. Oh my gosh, talk about everybody's true thirst coming out. It's finally the moment where it can happen, your true thirst has to come out. So it's a very interesting thing. You can't deny it though. You can't deny it. You got to go with it because it actually causes more harm. Like the reason why I'm talking about sex is because when you actually look at Interview with the Vampire, he does not want to. He's like, no, I can't. And look at what happens. This poor lady is about to die in a harder way because he's not learning from his apprentice. Now, I might sound like I'm teaching people how to become vampires here, but what I'm teaching people is the art of seduction, the art of Scorpio, the art of following your thirst, the art of not having repression. So, of course, then Brad Pitt doesn't do it. And what does Brad Pitt do at the end of this? I don't even think they show the scene. But Brad Pitt then goes out and kills a little girl because he finally gives in, and it's too late. And so he gives in to a little girl. Now, I'm not saying I'm trying to find a way to connect this without people thinking what the hell is this guy talking about? But what I'm trying to say is that if you don't give into your true desires, if you live your life in a life of bullshit, which is why Scorpio cuts through bullshit like a knife, is you get into repression. Everything shows up. You know what to do. You know what's right. You know what's wrong in your soul. You know what you must feel inside. You know what you must come into now. It's the phoenix that rises. It's the... I love to make people laugh. It's the penis that rises. You know, it's the heat sensation a woman gets when she's ready to flower and pollinate. Like it's, you know, and this is heavy sexual because now some people might not agree with me, but how powerful your sexual energy is represents how much money you make, how you can attract money, and more importantly, your power of manifesting is heavily connected to sexual energy. That's why people freak out because they think that there's got to be a boundary with it, right? So it's like in sexual energy and with it, you've got to be responsible with it. Because like when you look at Bohemian Grove, or if you look at any of these conspiracy theories of what people think of like these Illuminati or higher ups and how they have all this really big power and they're billionaires and they've kind of like broken the boundaries of sexual prowess by wearing hoods and like taking a girl and sodomizing her on a big table in front of people and dripping blood on her. And it's like, okay, like I would never go there in my sexual energy, even with a Mars and Saturn and Scorpio and a double Leo, like, you know, sounds kind of hot, but not really. You know what I mean? But it's like, is that connected with power at too high? I always asked myself that. That's kind of a deep thing to think about. But in your life, do you repress your sexual energy? You know, I've been on the dating game for a long time, 4.5 years, done the Tinder thing, done the Bumble thing, dated here, dated there, whatever. So I've met a lot of, you know, girls, and it'd be like, you know, some girls are really open sexually and some aren't. Some are a little, some wait for the fourth date, some have a little thing. You know, everybody's got their own boundary lines up. But it all depends on how much thirst there really is, too. Sometimes I notice people who wait a long time. Now, this is just from like personal experience, and then say it'll be really good when it's there. It's because they don't even have that much thirst. They like really, or maybe they, or sometimes you'll meet somebody who waits a long time and they got a lot of thirst. Or somebody has a lot of thirst, they give it away right away and they just are really intense. It's like a really hard thing. Everybody's got their own boundaries. Everybody's got their own things. But, you know, it's kind of a crazy subject. I love that there's so many people in here wanting to talk about this stuff. Somebody says, you must live in your truth. That was Heidi Williams in there in the chat room just now. And I think like all sex is your pure realist state. Like it doesn't get any more real when you take off, like this is a Calvin Klein jeans shirt, right? And I'm wearing Lucky jeans and I'm wearing no underwear because I free ball. So the realist part is when you take all that off and really see who you are. And that's why Scorpio rules being naked. That's why Scorpio also rules below the hips, and more importantly, below which Libra rules are the kidneys, is because Scorpio rules the genitals, but what it rules is the underworld. Why is the only thing we hide in this world our genitals? We don't hide our legs. We don't hide our feet. We don't, you know, we'll go to the pool and we'll just hide our genitals. And then of course women hide their breasts for some reason, which I don't get that one. That one just, I don't know where that one came from. I think that one is kind of connected to religion actually, but because, I mean, I think the world would be a better place if the women didn't wear tops. That's just my opinion. I think everybody would be a little bit happier. Like breastfeeding in public. I have no problem with that. That's raw. That's natural. That's real. You know what I mean? But somebody just said stop in big letters. I wonder what that means. Lindell DeMare. Can you get deeper into that? So Melody Sweet says, I am secretive of my extreme thirst, but it is there for sure. I prefer to show love first. Must be exalted Venus. That's a good point. I think that, like I said, Not everybody is built the same. That's why I didn't want to say like anybody who waits, let's say 6 days to have sex doesn't mean that they don't have a lot of thirst. They might like to starve themselves like Brad Pitt does in an Interview with the Vampire or something, or they want to build some sort of trust first. And that's why Scorpio rules trust. So it's kind of an interesting, world. But for the fact that we've all are getting let out of our cages, King Kong's coming out. I don't care what anybody thinks. With this Scorpio transit, with this Mars transit happening at the same time in exaltation on the final degrees of the final decan, Mars is happy now. Mars was pissed off when it was in the first decans because it was a Libra sun. It was pissed off. It was not happy. It didn't feel like it could get things done. It felt like there was too many relationship issues and stuff. Those issues are coming close to an end. Venus is about to pass Saturn here in the next week, right after the election. Right before the election, sorry. We're about to really come into, when does Venus and Saturn conjunct? It conjuncts on the 29th. Yeah, I knew it would. It's this weekend. The relationship stuff's really coming to a major kind of front by this new moon. This new moon is a big deal. I'm going to do a whole separate segment on this new moon. But everybody's coming out of extreme repression, and I got to be honest with everybody. Sexual repression is ending. You heard it here first, folks. Sexual repression is ending. This weekend is going to be where you step into a whole new transformational, whole new powerful world, and it is going to be wild. People are going to let it out. You want to talk about a sexy Halloween? Coming up. No, not that kind of come. I'm on it today. I'm sorry. This is, the moon's still in Leo. And I got a lot of Scorpio. We're in my vibe, This is Leo King vibe, Leo Scorpio. If there was a little Taurus in here, it'd be me fully. It would control my energy a little bit. But, sorry, it's just my Leo Scorpio coming out. But, this is main repression ending. And especially with Mars square Uranus, especially with the Mars coming off Pluto, this is a major, major deal. And this is going to be a major sexual inner revolution, a thirst, a want, the desire starting to come up. And you've got to be very careful, though, because you don't want to cross that line into Bohemian Grove and wearing weird hoods and pouring blood on and sodomizing people. Like, that's just like the boundary line of sex that just gets a little freaky. Red balls in your mouth, go back to there. You know what I mean? Like, maybe go, if you're a little freaky, go see a dominatrix or something. Like, those are boundary lines that I think people can hang with. But I think with this much of energy, it's like how Brad Pitt eats a little girl right away because he's been suppressing himself for so long. We have all been suppressing ourselves in many ways. Or even if you haven't been trying to repress yourself, I'm going to be honest, the sexual energy has not been at what it normally is. I hate to say that. I could almost guarantee you that the best sex in your whole life has not happened in the years of 2012 through 2016. Hate to be honest with you. The best sex happened before that, before all the Scorpio stuff came in. And now the best sex in the world is going to happen after now, starting this month, starting this week. I said it here first. Please spread the message throughout America and the world that you heard it on the Leo King channel, that the sexual revolution of connection and thirst and desire is back, and it is coming extreme. And you will feel it. Especially with Mars, Pluto, Mars, Uranus, woo! It's separating for the weird stuff that's going to come out in the press just individually in our lives. We're about to really kind of let the weirdo out. If you're willing to, though, if you're willing, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I'm going to take a couple questions and then we're going to go. I hope people aren't getting a little weirdo that I'm saying some crazy stuff here, Heidi Williams is like, I have been. Well, Heidi, then I guarantee you your sex will be much better after this week and coming into this weekend. Or you find a better sexual partner that's even better than the one you've had. It's a good pickup line, huh, Dave Trager? This guy said that this is a great pickup line. Use the pickup line that now sex has finally reached its peak because of the transits of the last 4 years in astrology, and that you need to go try it out and see if it really feels good. That's an amazing pickup line. See, if Donald Trump listened to me, instead of groping women, maybe he could actually use those lines. You know what I mean? But poor guy doesn't got the suave to do that. You guys all know I'm having fun, right? In a joke. Somebody said I am ready. I've been abstinent for 4 years. Is that ironic? I don't think that's ironic. You know? But and one thing about this energy is, especially when the moon comes into Virgo, do not start to criticize sex either, or like, it's got to be like this, or criticize yourself or anything like that. Like, realize we all went through a really weird sexual, repressive, emotional, because sex is deeper than just a dick going in a vagina or whatever you do with sex, because sex goes in all directions. Okay. It's an emotional connection. That's all sex is. The physical part deals with how we connect with our private parts. But this is a time where we can really start to feel like, I feel it again. I'm in it again. Whoa, this is like the glue. I always call Scorpio the glue to Libra relationships. That the reason why relationships have been so fucked up for years is because the glue has not been strong. So sure, you might have a ring on your finger, and sure, you might be in a relationship, you might get along great, but you know what? Maybe the sex has just been kind of weak, you know? Well, the glue's coming back on. Jupiter's passing through Libra into Scorpio here in the next year. And this is all about reconnecting, and especially with a Venus retrograde in Aries that's going to happen in 2017. I'm telling you, the relationship stuff's going to really, over the next year and a half, fix itself fully. And it's just nothing but up or downhill from here. You know, much better energy than what we've been dealing with. So I hope that helps and makes some sort of sense, because I know I just had to get this out. It was like, I was like, what am I going to talk about today? So we got Mars, Uranus, we got all this stuff, because when you look at all this stuff in the chart, it's like, well, what am I going to talk about exactly? It's like, okay, I could talk about Mars, Uranus, I could talk about the sun in Scorpio, I could talk about this new moon, I could talk about making the right decisions this week. There's a million things I could talk about. But you know what I really want to talk about? What really is happening here is the true sexual revolution internally of our souls turning back on. And one thing that you have to realize when this turns back on is, it's like, what's going to work and what's not going to work. What's going to get you off in life and not. Look at sex as more than between you and somebody else. Look at sex as a commitment that you want to make, or a connection you want to make with a job or with a direction in your life. This is where you go, what is going to make me get off in all ways and make me feel that my thirst and my hunger has been, yeah, I got that. And I think that people have to really look at that super deeply. So I'm going to bring it up one more time. If you want to be part of the Leo King app, I'm putting out a video this week, and I will talk about it a little bit in my Uncut, which I put out on Wednesdays, but Tuesday nights, about how to be on the Leo King app and the new submission process, because we got over 100 submissions. I can't get back to 100 emails, and I can't do 100 auditions, unfortunately. I wish I could. I've got readings to do, and I'm backed up on readings. I'm backed up on recordings. I'm backed up on a lot of things. So I have to weed people out by having them send a video and look at videos that way and do it like an old talent agency. So that's going to go down this week. I'll put out the videos for that, and make sure that you guys all have a box of condoms this week. What else? What else? pretty much about it. I think I said it at the beginning. The uncut will come out tomorrow. Don't worry. Today's going to be pretty chill, but it's going to get a little bit more wild as the days go on. And get ready for Friday when shit's going to really hit the fan. And not in a negative way. Maybe some crazy stuff will happen. No, the app prices are not going up, believe it or not. We are keeping the app price at the same price. I'm here to change the world and do it for $5.99 a month. So, like, that's how you change the world, is make it cheap for everybody. Because no matter, I'm going to keep my mouth zipped. But, you know, with everybody being overtaxed and way over everything, it's like people can't afford nothing. You know, a report just came out saying Americans are making the greatest wages that they've ever made in their life. And it's like, I was thinking about this because coinciding to that, the same articles are coming out saying that living is at the highest expense, premiums for insurance are at the highest, and inflation is at the highest. You know how much money it costs to go buy a freaking box of Wheat Thins? It's like $4.69, okay? $5 for a box of Wheat Thins, okay? Okay, so when you actually look at wages are higher, inflation's at the most peak it's ever been in its life. So I'm going to keep it at $5.99 because I'm as much as a box of Wheat Thins a month. That's the way that I keep it spiritual and change the world and help everyone out. You know what I mean? Like that's how it helps, you know? And telling you when you should go buy a thing of condoms because babies are going to be born this month or babies are coming in are going to be, what do you call it? Whenever you something in your birth, somebody help me out here. I need some help. I need all these people in the chat room to help me. Whenever you were, what's that word? Like when you look back, when your parents, whenever you were conceived, there is some conceiving going to have conception. The conception is about to come down. The biggest conception in a long time is about to come down with people having their King Kongs out. King Kong is coming out. For some, Little Willie's coming out. Oh, shit. I'm having way too much fun. But, so... Little Willie or King Kong's coming out. Whichever one that you want to talk about. And for the women, the chastity belts are coming off. You know, it's like, I think the chastity belts have been on for way too long for the women. You know, and some women, of course, have the chastity belt on or off, but maybe emotionally there's been a chastity belt underneath, an invisible chastity belt. And then men have been doing kind of the same thing, kind of like, you know, it's like playing with their food, like sticking the fork in the mashed potatoes and playing around and then pulling out and going, no, I don't want any of that. And then running away. So I'm going to go now. I love you all. Thank you for subscribing to the Leo King app. I truly appreciate it. And I truly appreciate you. And I wish you the best. And I thank you for watching me and subscribing to me and being part of the Leo Kingdom and joining the app. And this week, watch the videos that have come out. And I hope that I answered a lot of questions in this video. This is a 44-minute video that'll blow your mind. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I hope you are blowing in other areas as well.
Wake up to astrology like you've never seen before.